go away. Oh, no, there she is.
Here.
I thought it was the minutes piece.
Okay. Pledge.
Hello, this is Jeff Bull. Welcome all to the June 4th meeting of the Westport Landing Commission. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First thing on our agenda was to recruit a one-year member. I know that you had spoken about being in touch with the harmonica player, but it was unclear whether he was even a town resident or just on property
That
here.
guy. Yeah, he never responded. I asked a couple more people. I'm still working on
Okay,
it.
well, out there in TV land, if you would like to join us once a month on the Fun Landing Commission, you can apply to the Board of Selectmen and they can appoint you. So consider it, make an impact, it is a democracy. Next thing is
Microphones?
pardon, oh, microphones. Thank you.
You know the drill, come on.
Well, no, we need, that's why we pay you the big bucks, is to remind us. Microphone. Anyhow, next, Warwa River Day application,
Okay.
please.
I
Step
have,
forward.
we are hoping to have River Day. We're planning on having River Day Saturday, June 22nd, so not the 15th, but the following weekend. On the river, we have our forms. They can find one person, so we've got the different signatures that you need there. Everyone has what they need
Mhm.
and had the approval that they wanted. We have recruited 20, at the moment, we have 20 different non-vendor, nonprofit and vendors from the area, primarily nonprofits from the Westport and Dartmouth area, that will have a booth there. The watershed will be open and we'll have other booths there. We're going to have a Native American dancing and singing group performing in the morning, and then a drum group performing in the afternoon, and some strolling jugglers and bubble blowing people. And they're going to be all sorts of different activities. We'll have the banners up lining the road where they typically have been, the river where they've typically been, and we'll be set up much like we were last year. Last year we had 52, right now we're at 40, so we'd probably drop these ones that were way back up here. So it would be primarily in here, the dancing group will be performing there. We probably won't have those. So we should have music, and they're gonna put a banner, they got permission yesterday to put the banner across here, their partners, to help market it, and they just put up the lawn signs.
Okay. I guess last year's event,
Yep.
you applied to actually close the parking lot because you were going to be doing particular things there.
Yeah, we were hoping to do what we had done last year, and what we did is seemed to work well last year was close the back parking lot so that we can have vendors there, and we left this side open for emergency parking and neighbor access, and drop off.
How
And we
about
had the
just
police.
anybody that wants to put their kayak in the water?
They can come there too.
They
Yeah,
could park
drop
there?
off. Yep, they can be dropped off. Things can
Drop.
drop off there
Why can't they park there?
because they're like 5 or 6 spaces.
Okay? I'm just concerned about people being able to access the water.
Yeah. And we'll have the bus shuttle coming from the high school. The Council on Aging is giving us a bus as well, so they could easily unload their kayak and access the water and then go park it there and get a shuttle back down if they need to.
Okay, and what kind of active coordination is there with our other tenant, the kayak shop?
They are aware that we're doing that, and Deborah's been talking to them, and they're on board. I think they're going to remain open, so they're not going to be shut down. Last year, I think they were at one point going to shut down, and then we let them be open to rent kayaks if they wanted to, and they're in support of it.
Okay. And there's two relatively smaller parking places that are on your property.
Yep. We're gonna have two tents there. We're gonna have a face painting person and a tattoo and an information and,
So those will not be available. to
They will not
public
be
people.
for
I just want the public to know kind of what's been going on.
yep. And we will be selling, as we have in the past, we'll be selling pizza and water for $1. And we're getting the pizza from Domino's in Fall River, but it's owned by a Westport owner.
And I'm sorry, I wasn't listening attentively enough, or it's my 75 years of age. Did you say there would be a shuttle that would go up to the middle school, high school parking lot?
Yes, the Council on Aging is gonna be, they've done that the past couple of years as well. They have parking, allow car parking up there, and then they shuttle, and they come down, and they come down this little side thing, and they drop them off here, and the police are there and help them get in and out and direct the traffic. So we've already cleared it with
That's
the
gonna,
police.
the shuttle will run from when to when?
The event is from 10 until 2, and the shuttle, I believe, is running from 9, once the vendors can drop off their stuff. Some of the vendors may be able to park up against the stone wall as well, but people that start to come early, they'll start running the shuttle early as well.
And when will the shuttle service end?
I imagine 2:30. I don't think they whenever we need it to, whenever they stop having people. The library is having a Raptor program starting at 2 o'clock that afternoon. So that's why we're ending at 2 instead of 3. We cut it an hour short so that to accommodate them. And they originally wanted to cross promote it, but then they got a little worried about having everybody show up to the Raptor program. So we're still stopping it early, but we're not
So
cross
again,
promoting
for
it.
all the people in the public that are watching this, if somebody wanted to go canoeing, kayaking on their own,
Yep.
didn't have particular interest in doing River Day, although I'm sure they'll have some interest, they could conceivably show up at 8:30
Yep.
till 2 o'clock, drop off their kayak, park at the middle school,
Yep.
get a ride back, and then if they come back from kayaking after 3 o'clock, they're going to have to walk the middle school to go get their car.
They would probably need to plan on that, but it's not too far. It's maybe a quarter mile. It's uphill, I know.
After they've kayaking only. I mean, I just think it's important that the public
Yep.
know in case they're planning.
Yep, exactly.
Sorry
We're gonna
for-
be promoting ahead of time the hours of it, so hopefully everybody will be aware of it. And they'll either choose to come to River Day and or come before or after, or,
Yep, sorry to be grilling you, but
That's
it's
okay.
every
I have-
year. Are there other questions?
I just have a question. How
Yep.
many people do you normally get for a River Day? Does it vary a lot?
last year it rained on us, so we didn't have as many as we'd anticipated. And I've been involved with this is my 3rd year. The first year was the first time they did it back, and it was more of a family day at the River Center, but I believe they used to get 500 or 600. Last year, I think we had about 100 or 200.
Mhm.
So if the weather's good, we have, again, we have about 20 different nonprofits, and they each have a couple volunteers that are coming. But we're hoping to have it be a nice community building event where people all can feel welcome and interact kind of in a village type setting. So it's primarily an informational family event versus, we don't have a lot of people selling things. It's not as much of a farmer's marketing or a vendor showcase as I think sometimes it was when they had the big tent and they had lots of vendors under it. It's more of a community building event.
Are there other questions?
I have none. Just hope you have a day as nice as today.
I know, that would be lovely.
Beautiful
It
today.
would be great.
Something I would mention, I
Yep.
think maybe you are already taking care of this. We discovered when the Wednesday yoga folks applied for their application 2 months ago, and then it came a month ago because we didn't get them on the agenda. Every Wednesday, in the area where they put down their yoga mats
Uh-huh.
and slightly beyond, they pick up all the goose poop and take it away.
That's nice.
I would encourage you to consider, because we know the goose poop isn't good to wash into the river,
Yeah.
that maybe you could get some of your vendors or volunteers or something to similarly police the area. We
Yeah.
will try to get it mowed.
Okay.
We are having difficulty getting it mowed this year because of various safety issues, and the highway department only has 5 guys. So
Yep.
we will talk about that later in this meeting, but I would encourage you to talk to your team and
Okay. We'll definitely monitor it if it seems to be aggressive, excessive or something that we don't want everyone stepping in it. We can
There's a
clean it
lot.
up.
There's a lot.
So,
Looked like they were giving swimming lessons today.
The
Some
geese.
were standing on the embankment there, and some
The
were in
geese?
swimming. Yeah, it looked
Ah.
like swimming lesson day.
It might have been youth geese. Are you okay, Commissioner?
Holland.
uh-huh.
It makes me,
Is there a motion on the floor to approve this application?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? I would say next year, please
Do it
put something in
earlier.
your calendar.
Yeah,
Unless we change the policy, it's supposed to be 60 days.
okay.
Thank you.
I will definitely.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We
Thank
look
you.
forward to it. I hope you all can come. I may just stay and listen to the Hicksbridge and then information on any of these.
A slight omission that I'm going to cover right now on the agenda is that at the last select board meeting I was at, I encouraged the select board to appoint a liaison person from that board so that so that the select board would be more informed about what the challenges are that we face, and particularly because some of the challenges we face are actually relevant to landings that are mostly the select board's responsibility. So this evening we have Richard Brewer, who agreed to be our select board representative. So let's welcome Richard. We'll go with
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Much appreciated, happy to be here.
See how much fun this is, Richard?
And this is getting even better as it goes along.
it doesn't get much better on a Tuesday night.
All right, moving right along to Hicksbridge Landing Update approval. Things are moving along. We are employing people and have a separate contract, which we already have money for, to figure out the bounds of either an easement or a purchase of the exit ramp out of the landing. We are still working on negotiating the terms of that, the terms of which eventually really will be the select board's responsibility and not ours, because the exit is on the select board's part of the landing that they own that we don't own.
That the town doesn't know.
Well,
Yeah, it's
the
on
town
the,
doesn't own, but more definitively, I expect, and I guess this would be something to consider, just so that everyone understands that in the past, the Landing Commission has only been responsible for land that was actually deeded to the Landing Commission. So at Hicksbridge Landing, the Landing Commission's property line starts kind of in the middle of the asphalt entry road. So it includes that little beach, and it includes the grassy area on the west side of Hicksbridge. Everything on the east side going uphill belongs technically to the Board of Select people. But we are sort of joining them in this process because we know stuff about landings and they're busy. So that's why we are helping do that. So anyhow, we're working on the easement. We're working still with the Masons to figure out whether to purchase an easement or to purchase the property. They haven't decided about that yet. I spoke shortly with Jim Hartnett about the idea of kayak racks that have been proposed. He said, well, maybe next year it's one more thing to figure out, and we don't have the people power at town hall to think about permits and selling it and all that. So I think that I will let the fellow know who proposed kayak racks, and he can do some footwork on it if he wants, maybe for next year. Or maybe, as I suggested, some other landing, since Hicksbridge is already fills up with people who want to put their boats in the water. So
right.
and in some ways, it's not that safe a place compared to Emma Tripp, which is incredibly safe for a kayak. Are there any other questions about the Hicks Landing project?
So they're going to rework the design to show the dock extension on the south side?
Yeah, I think the dock, it does show on the south side. There'll be a dock on the south
Well,
side.
you had sketched
and
it
then a
in, right?
ramp
Yep.
on the north side, then a gangway with something or other on the north side also. Yep. So there will soon be grant writing and permitting and bidding, and maybe in 3 to 5 years, there will be a new landing, assuming we get the money to do it. Anything else on that? Hearing none. Number 5, the Point Landing. I hear the anchor has been moved.
Yes,
How about that?
it has.
Well,
They were
that's-
very quick about that,
Yeah.
very amenable.
Good. Where'd the anchor go to? It's
It went to their, it went to one of the sons'
It
House.
sounds, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
So-
noticed it like 2 days later.
it's
Yeah.
a great anchor.
It is a good anchor,
Yeah.
as anchors go.
Relative to the Point Landing, I read in the newspaper something about one of the businesses there applying for some sort of extended hours or something. And I don't think we were notified by zoning or the select board or whatever, but I am concerned that we ought to be notified, because the primary reason that landing is there is a parking lot for the public to access the docks and things in general, not necessarily to be an expanded parking lot for expanding businesses. So I would hope that when that kind of thing comes along in the future, that we somehow are notified. I have no idea, I was not able to follow through on it. I was being a grandfather in Seattle. But I just think it's something that we need to be paying attention to, because it can get crowded down there. And then it becomes a safety problem getting up and down the road, which is already very narrow, and so it's hard for cars and emergency vehicles to pass each other. So if you do hear of people trying to expand businesses down there, and it may be fine. We just want to make sure there's adequate resources.
If there was a Board of Appeals application, there should have been a butter notification.
Yeah.
This is,
Does the assessor's records clearly show that that land is owned by the Landing Commission?
Yeah,
Because it could have gone to,
yeah.
you
This
know,
has happened in the past. Yeah. So,
where, do you know, Sue, where information goes that nobody's sure where it should go? Is it town clerk or?
The question is, how do they have it addressed? A lot of times, something like the Board of Appeals, like if we want to get notifications from them, we should just send them a note saying, please notify, and who to email it to, or where to, you know. If they mail it, it's going to come here, to this building.
Right.
and it
this,
may not have been an omission. I mean, I may be in error. It was just that I just saw it and I was like, oh, what are they doing now? And
well, it was not an expansion. It was misrepresented on many levels. It was simply moving some seating. Now, there are other issues.
seating or seeding?
Seating.
Seating?
Like place to
Seating.
put your butt?
Seeding oysters or seeding humans?
Seating as in seating humans.
Ah,
So the damage is done.
mhm.
However, when you talk about ownership of property, yes, landing property or abutters, that was actually something that was done by, it was a title search that was done by Sean Leach 6 years ago, maybe?
Yep.
And that was a very thorough title search on all the properties that abutted. I don't know if anybody's done anything with it other than put it in the record.
I know it was talked about, and there were, but I think that, like many things in a small town, it was not followed through beyond that. So I think it would probably be good to bring that document to the attention of the zoning board of appeals and the planning board and everybody else, so that as this sort of thing goes on, but again, it's hard for all those Ts to get crossed in a small town that is struggling getting the lawns mowed. So,
Well, it was actively ignored.
yeah, I agree with you, it's serious, and I know in my time here,
I'm gonna go. Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Yep,
Good luck.
we
Hope
have
you can go for
spent
everything.
Okay.
quite a bit of time ourselves and quite a bit of money on the lawyers and 2 lawsuits turning around the fact that things have been ignored in the past. So I know it's serious, and we can certainly put an item on the agenda if there's something in particular that we want for next meeting that we want to address relevant to whatever that was, because I don't know the exact details of it. Do you have any sense?
Well, could you be more specific as to who we're talking about here?
I think it was the oyster business.
Well, they came before the select board regarding the
Seating, okay.
seating, as in
But
theater
we-
seats. So that, whatever happened there is, not everybody's happy with it, I understand what there.
No,
But I don't know if we're talking,
that's
I'm
not,
not clear what we're talking about.
no, I don't think that is what we're talking about, is what parts are landing and what parts the landing commission should have more control over how it's being used, rather than just being available for parking for
Okay.
a private business, a particular business. Or,
So if there was an
You know, I mean-
expansion in seating, for example,
Yes.
we ought to know about that. If, because it's unclear, I know in that, all that great engineering work that Sean Leach did, if somebody is using public property, then, and then using it in a way that the public is not allowed, because realistically, I expect that wharf was built over Commonwealth property, and to the extent that any wharf is built over the water, the public generally has a right to walk across that wharf and cannot be walled off or gated off. And so certainly that kind of thing goes on all over town, but I would hope that we would, as much as we can, try to be particularly cognizant in a high-traffic area like Westport Point, and being clear with property owners that face those challenges and businesses that face those challenges, and help them figure out a solution about how to continue to protect the public's right to access different parts of Commonwealth property. Because
Yeah. So the landing commission down there is obviously public property under the control of the landing commission.
right.
I mean, it seems to me logical that whatever goes on down there should be reviewed by the landing commission at all levels, businesses or
Yep.
anything. There could be complaints about not having access. I mean, you've got fishermen down there. But don't you do that in the course of business? Doesn't that happen? Or is there a void here?
We didn't hear, I just happened to be looking at the newspaper and happened to read the legal notices, and I didn't know what it was particularly about. And so I would think that when someone comes to you about seating or parking or whatever down there, you might ask, have you gone before, what does the landing commission think about this? Because realistically, where that particular business actually runs is not on landing commission land, but it has an impact on the public's right to park in public spaces.
Sure.
So it would be good to redirect those folks to us.
There's actually another issue too. The landing, which is that grassy knoll that goes up and has the board that goes across it. You know where that's between the
Yeah,
Haynes property and the Oyster, that is a public landing. And legally, according to the state of Massachusetts, 25 feet on either side of that belongs to the state of Massachusetts.
Okay,
And you cannot build across that.
Right.
And there is a dock built across it.
Right, and that's one of those things that happened years ago. What I will say is that while a little bit of the grassy knoll belongs to the landing commission, most of that is actually the old
Road layout.
bridge abutment. It's the old roadway that went across
Right,
to the back eddy
Which
before it
belongs
was
to
the
the
back
state.
eddy. And so even though the bridge, from the research we did about that, even though the bridge was abandoned, it's not clear in the town records that the roadway was abandoned. So there is a bit of an informal agreement currently with the oyster business, just so people will know. And it's not unlike some of the informal agreement we have with the marina business down there who parks in that grassy area, which is why we moved the anchor, that they would double up their cars on that roadway, which is no longer used because the bridge is no longer there. Now, I am not aware of these additional setbacks that you're speaking of or what the requirements are, but at a future meeting, just so we don't get too deep into the weeds, if you could bring the text of those.
this is what Sean Leach conveyed to me
Okay.
at that time.
If you could bring that in a way in which we can all look at it and consider it, that would be great. And I'm not sure, given that licenses and permits have already been granted, this is certainly
But
not.
they weren't.
Well, they are doing business down there.
Yes, but that, again, that was on a handshake.
Well,
And-
I don't know, but I don't want to get too deeply into the weeds without documentation.
Right, I agree.
Because then
I
it's
agree.
just, because we're gonna have to look at the detail anyhow. So if you could work on that and bring some of that, and I can put it on the agenda for next time.
That would be a Sean Leach, not a Brenda Figueredo thing. I
Well,
mean,
someone,
but that's,
someone from here.
that's a
will-
very complex thing. That's a, that's
But the
a,
landing commission actually only has control over the landing itself,
Right.
which is not where the bridge was.
Yeah,
That isn't,
right,
that
That's
isn't
right.
a town landing.
so we're just in a butter, so we're a complainer because we're in a butter. And that's okay, that's our job.
right. That's right, that's right.
So, part of it is a building code issue probably, I don't know.
But part of it is also a state issue, because I think anything that is, in the state of Massachusetts, anything that is filled belongs to the state of Massachusetts in perpetuity.
Right, the Commonwealth, yep.
Then the Haynes property would be that,
That's-
that entire thing was
Right.
filled.
I mean,
That's-
everything is filled up to the,
There's
up
a
to
lot
that.
of land down there that's
Yeah,
been filled,
because
so it's
that's what
kind
is-
of,
what
it
is
goes
that
so
the-
far back
That's-
that
that
would,
was the mud dock is filled, it's
That's
filled from that
generally true.
post
Yeah.
all the way out, is
That's
it's
generally
filled.
true all over town.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, this
All
isn't
over the state.
unusual.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
including the wharf on the river, what is it? What's the name of the big wharf right at the harbor?
Charlton.
Charlton Wharf.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's signs that say private, but I walk there. And you could tie up a big dock there, big boat, if you wanted. All right, but so I'd like to move along though.
yeah.
Picnic bench, number 6, West Side, we dedicated, I don't know, a maximum of $1,400, $1,600. Not picnic bench, I'm sorry, a picnic, bench.
Bench,
Yep.
Right, not
not
a
a
table.
table, a bench.
I got an estimate from the company that made the ones at the
Head.
head, thank you for filling in the words when my brain doesn't. $1,800, not including freight, not installed.
Ah,
Yeah.
We call it inflation.
So anyhow, I had thought, similar to the benches we, on the beach committee made on the path to Cherry and Webb, I would go back behind the highway department and pick out some pieces of granite, have them dropped in place, and I, because I'm enjoying carpentry these days, would build a little wooden, well, faux wooden top for it, and that would be sort of a Westport thing. Because I didn't think we wanted to spend $2,000 plus pay an overworked highway department to try to install it. I spoke with Chris Gonzalez today about that. He said, I've got a better solution. I guess they've got an extra picnic bench sitting behind the highway department, still in the box, when they install picnic benches for the Council on Aging.
oh,
So, at some point in the future, when he has time, they will pour a little cement pad, and people will then be able to sit there
and
and
enjoy
look
the view.
north and enjoy town property that has not been enjoyed for probably 30 years, except for people driving by, maybe 40 years.
They've done a lot of cleaning out there recently, brush removal and
Yes.
stuff recently,
Yeah,
so you have a
so-
better view
Yep.
without getting attacked by poison ivy and bittersweet.
Ticks?
Yeah,
Ticks.
for the public who again
Oh,
is
you still
watching,
get
this is the grassy section just north of Hicksbridge Road, just west of the bridge. That's public property. And I am gonna propose again to the select board, and may try to get on their agenda. There is parking, because when the highway department stops there to mow it, they stop there with all their tractors and stuff. They park on the side of the road. There is parking on the side of the road for maybe 5 cars, and I have proposed to the police department for the last 3 years that parallel parking would be relatively safe, because we've now cleared a sight line so that as you're driving west on Hicks Bridge, you can see that cars are parked there, and you can see that someone was pulling out of a parallel parked area. And I have suggested that that could be made, basically extended Hicks Bridge landing parking, so that the permit that people purchase for the boat ramp parking lot would extend to those 5 or 6 spaces, be a handicap spot, people could park there. So you may be hearing from us at our your next meeting.
And for clarification, this is the west side of Hicks Bridge. Is that the north?
It's on the
Yes.
northwest side, yes. And it's currently, basically, the safety officer have said, well, it must have been a reason why we've made this no parking both sides. And that, I think it just keeps ending there and it doesn't get up to your level, but I know we have a new police chief and a new safety officer, so I think it's worth considering again. Certainly, yeah, it's not the safest place in the world to park, but there's a lot of places people park in Westport that are way more dangerous. And so, and we have cleared the sight lines so you can see, so that, yeah, somebody who wasn't paying attention coming across Hicks Bridge could be a problem if you were pulling out, but I think parallel parking makes it safer. And particularly if it was permit parking, I think it would be difficult if we made it just public parking. I think it should be permit, because there's already a struggle about who gets to fish from the bridge. And the public wants,
So that's that grassy area?
yeah,
There used to be something, a restaurant or something there?
our historians here will fill us in, yes, there is a plaque.
Yeah, there's a historic plaque, and quite honestly, I've never read it.
It was a
It's
restaurant.
unusual that I've never
There
read
was
it.
a little, and there was a bowling
did
alley
remember
down
that.
there.
It
I
was-
think the social club.
The social club used to be, have a bowling alley, I know
It
that.
was a bowling alley and it came from down there someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
And it was brought by oxen or something, driven across there?
Yep.
Could be.
Oh,
But there
I'm
was a-
surprised not by whaleboat, but,
Too shallow.
oh no, they brought the boats down there.
No,
Yeah,
but they were on their
across the
sides.
Okay, we gotta move along here,
Yeah,
friends.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
We
can't be
only have
doing this.
19 minutes left.
Okay.
Moving along.
So we're gonna get Chris to put in a picket bench. We'll find a good place to put it. Adamsville Landing and Emmett Trip signage. I've
Yeah.
spoken with Signature Signs. They have not gotten back to me. Spoke to them a couple of times. They said they would. Expect they will. I think we should just go. They do all the signs for town, so I think we should do it. Thinking about the signs, at Emmett Trip, my sense is it should be two-sided so that people can see it going east or
Yes, I agree.
west.
Yes.
Motion two-sided signs, Emma Trip.
Second.
Well, can we hold on approval of that until we've spoken?
Time for
So we don't
discussion.
have to have too many for our secretary, too many motions. So, Adamsville, I'm not sure where it can go, but it seems like most of the people coming to the Adamsville Landing would be coming from the north headed south.
Correct.
And because
It's an awkward to pull in from the other direction.
everybody that's already south,
Has already passed it going north, going south.
right, and so I think just one-sided, somehow facing north would be adequate there. Because I think as you're
Like-
leaving, you don't need to know that you're leaving the Adamsville Landing.
I think there's an ugly sign there now that could probably go in that location.
There
Not
is-
that high, it's really
Yeah,
high. It's like it's for ospreys
it's
or
like a
something.
funky little sign there, yeah.
It's not aesthetically in keeping with our landing tradition.
Right, so in the past, the last time we did it, I was picky about the 4x4s because I was afraid that they would pick out crummy ones, but then we had them do the install. The highway department, and so I think we're gonna have to just take Signature Signs. I don't have the time to go chase down 4x4s anymore, we'll just trust them. So,
Sounds
Did you, oh, so you don't have a price yet?
I don't have a price yet, but can we just say that if it's, we'll pay for it if it's no more than, see, it's twice as many signs. So as long as it's no more than 4 times what we paid last time, because things have gone up, it's been years.
4 times total.
Yeah.
For the two signs.
Right,
One two-sided, one
because it's gonna be at
one-sided.
least twice as much, and inflation has happened.
I have a silly suggestion, the Emma Trip one. Is there any way that those signs are removable?
Hmm.
Thinking in the winter when we get storm threats, that it would be advisable to at least take, the post will survive,
Yes, good point.
but the sign itself is about likely to get
Yeah.
ripped right off
The
of
post
there.
might not even survive. How about
Lots of
putting
times it
putting
does.
in a tube so that it
In a
just, well,
sleeve.
I guess, no, you know what, it might take a walk, never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just,
No, good point. So, yeah, I will expect, they are removable.
okay,
They can, it's not quite as pretty when they are removable, but
no,
they can do
but,
that.
yeah.
Good point.
I mean, everything else washes away down there, so we'd at least save our signs and then just have to replace the post.
And I expect we would put it on the west side of Emma Trip, because the east side historically gets used by the abutter to the east. Because they sort of pull in and,
New tenant,
In the rock, the current rock,
new tenant,
new tenant, yeah,
There.
well, he did the same thing,
did he?
yeah.
the current
Right.
rock
It's a
is on the
big-
west
he's got a
side, right?
bigger trailer, so there's not as much going on.
Okay.
But he did pull all the way through, and I just didn't want to go make a point about it.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what they, I haven't been down,
Yeah.
but I just know it's somebody different.
And so,
So isn't the current rock with the name on it On the west side,
Yeah, so
Yes.
go like above that or something.
makes sense.
Yeah, because the rock, I
now-
love the rock, but you can't, depends on
You
which,
can only see it.
Yeah.
It needs to be touched up or something. So an earlier motion was on the floor. Would you care to amend that to include both sides?
Yes. I care to amend that. To include a one-sided sign for Adamsville Landing and a two-sided sign for
And a
Amherst.
maximum cost of 4 times what we paid last time. I don't know how else.
And you don't know how much that was.
I have no idea. I'll check my phone to see if she got organized to send me a quote, but I doubt it.
Yeah,
we could say
they could
like-
have worked from their last quote, I would think. The one at the head landing is two-sided.
Yes, that's why I said 4 times. Or we could just say $900, I'm sure it'll be less than that.
I motion that we allow up to $900 for one-sided sign and one two-sided sign for the two
Installed.
lands installed.
second.
Is there any further discussion about signs? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nobody. Someone's smiling at the back of the room. Give me a little professionalism back there. Moving along, past minute meeting approval. Tough grammar there. Do we have minutes to approve? We do.
Yes, we do. And I've read them and I just had one question.
That's surprising, given that I sort of threw it together
It's just
from
a
my memory,
question.
which Can you call a
It's
friend?
just a question. I guess I motion to approve because I can't figure out what my question was. I should take notes.
Is there any other discussion?
None.
It has been moved and
Seconded, a motion to second.
to approve the minutes of the April meeting. All in favor?
I
Aye. Thank you very much. Other business anticipated time of posting.
Just an FYI, we have received the payment for the Atterbury prop lease, and it has been deposited.
Great. Thank you. I have one quick item in discussion with the highway department recently, who have valiantly mowed the town's landings in the past with a total staff of 7 to 10 people. They now only have 5 people to mow the entire town, and there are now public safety issues because they are unable to adequately mow the sides of the road, and there's starting to be more cars hitting deer
Mm.
and potentially throwing people through windshields after they hit deer. So it's a big public safety issue. So until things change, which realistically is not going to happen this year for them, we need to hire somebody to mow, because they're not going to be able to mow. So I just found that out today. He is going to be able to mow for this coming weekend and won't leave us completely high and dry. But I have to speak with the town administrator about how do we get somebody approved to mow. Apparently Troy Landscaping mows for the school. I'll be in touch with them. I don't know how you become an approved mowing vendor.
I think what we're supposed to do is get at least 3 quotes. Depends on the cost of how much it's gonna cost us through the season, and you're supposed to get, For
Isn't that
procurement
only above
purpose.
a certain amount?
yeah, and you still need 3.
Really?
It's just, you don't have to go through a written, if it's over a certain amount, then they have to be written quotes and stuff. You can call and get a quote
We don't have to advertise, do
No, it depends on how much it's gonna be.
we? Okay.
And is it mowing all the way up to the doorstep of the house is on the other side, on the west side of the road? It's everything. Both sides of the river
No,
and,
There's a lot of landing property all over town that's effectively used by the people that live there and not us. So what, it'll be basically at the head mowing,
we need to
As-
outline that specifically
Yeah.
is what I was getting
right,
at. So
mowing
that,
as far,
the prices are all
like, we don't mow the property that the kayak shop rents from us. They somehow take care of that. We don't weed whack around their kayaks and things. So we mow from sort of the Porta-John south, and then we mow the other side, and I guess we're gonna be responsible, that little triangle where the powder house is,
Mhm.
I think that's landing.
That is
It's
So
landing.
we're gonna have to
typically
mow
mows.
that, but
avoiding the
Goose?
daffodils until they're gone by, till the foliage has gone by.
you sound like you know a lot about that. You
Well,
have-
I've
would you
noticed,
like to
I've
quote?
noticed what happened. Yeah, we should give a specific area so that we get equal votes
Right,
from
but we're
everyone.
not gonna mow on the other side of Drift Road. That's what you're asking about?
Yeah,
And I'm not sure if we're gonna mow, if we have to mow where we're talking about putting a bench at Hicks Bridge. Because I saw that was mowed recently, but,
Should we put in wildflowers and let it go to nature?
haha, yeah.
No, wood ticks.
That takes 3 or 4 years, given that I did that in my house, and that's how long it took. It was dirt for the first 3.5 years to kill wood grass. It's not easy. Anyhow, so if anyone out there in TV land wants to think about mowing, you can send a note to the landing commission.
No, it has to be a company with licensed insurance.
Insurance is anyone with a license and insurance.
do you know what that limit is on the insurance?
No.
Okay.
We need to find that out, I guess, huh?
Next meeting date. How about, I don't know, 6 weeks, 5 weeks?
The only thing would be is if someone wants to lease the landing, that we need to react, right?
Lease the landing.
Use a landing for
Right.
an activity, for an
Yeah.
event.
Yep, it's that time of year. So we could do July 9th or the 16th.
16th.
I hear
16.
16th work for you?
Fine with me?
You're not gonna be in Greece
I probably won't be in Greece anytime soon.
Did you say the
then? The
19th?
16th work, I said,
16th?
16th.
16th, okay.
yeah, does the 16th work for you, sir? Well, there we go. Does 4 o'clock still work for people?
Is that Bastille Day?
My calendar doesn't say that. Why, is that a problem for you?
No.
Oh. Man, stay on topic here, Brenda. All right, so I don't think we need a vote on that one. We do need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second that.
Nice. Make that in the minutes.
And just a question, did you get a hold of the Stonewall guys from the head about that repair?
No. Oops.
With River Day coming up, it's a little bit of a concern.
Who's the Stonewall guy? Because I have to call a Stonewall guy myself. Is it Cabral?
No,
No,
it's
This is
this
a guy
is-
from way out of town.
Woodall,
Oh, okay.
what's the name? Woodall?
Woodall.
Woodall, is it?
Yes, that sounds right.
Yep.
It's for along the water.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not a regular stone wall.
See.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. Is there any further discussion about that? And again, if you tuned in late, if you want to be the 5th member of the Landing Commission, get in touch with us or get in touch with the Select Board. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to the next meeting.
Thank you for joining us.